we have a whole bunch of people here who are really interested in making communications in our community a little better. Okay, our newsletter is back in business. Peter Rose. Peter Rose with the white hair. He's moving in towards the speaker here. Because he's going to put you in the newsletter. Our newspaper. If you have any announcements, or if you want to receive our newspaper, please see Peter. He's right here. He's got his card
Any
up.
announcements, just take a card and write it up and get it to me. Or if you're not getting the newsletter, please give me a clearly printed, legible version of your email and your full name.
We think at this table that Peter Rose ought to be in the Hall of Fame.
So I'm going to go ahead and make an announcement while everybody's getting settled a little bit. We are so excited to tell you that Move to Amend and American Promise have arranged for a showing of the Dark Money movie. It's August 17th, 18th, and 19th. There are 5 showings. One of those is going to be designated for our 2 groups, which are both working on the 28th Amendment to get big money out of politics and out of elections. So we will let you know which date is ours. We'd love to have you come then. We're going to have a panel afterwards. Some of us might even go out to enjoy some refreshments after that. So, but please, it's going to be at the old Garfield Theater. It's being renovated. It's opening early August, and it's now called, we think, the Cincinnati World Cinema. So anyway, please pencil that in, and we'll give you the specifics again. Dates.
Thank you.
Mid-August, you can come to our website, Move to Amend Cincinnati, and we'll have the full thing there, or you can just Google Cincinnati World Cinema. They have all the details. What I want to say, to add to what Dan has already said, is this is a huge opportunity. It's huge. So we want to ask everybody's help in this room to start working with us now to get everybody you know aware of this and sharing it. So please, and coming would be nice.
That's where the Shakespeare.
Yes.
Hey,
It's
Mike.
where the Shakespeare Theater used to be.
Oh, right.
Governor Kasich finally did something right. He commuted the death sentence of Ray Tibbetts, who was severely beaten as a child, brain damage. So it's a huge step. Would you all please call him and thank him? Because this could be great, because there are a lot of people like him on death row. The number is 614-466-3555. 614-466-3555. Thank him for commuting the death sentence of Raymond Tibbetts. Thank you.
Thank you.
This may sound a little garbled.
Oh, you've got that. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, you go.
Go ahead. Give her the mic, Ann. Give her the mic.
I have a mic. And that's why
Turn it on.
I learned this morning that, back in May, the ACLU filed a lawsuit to get documents having to do with how the Ohio legislature did redistricting in 2011. And the General Assembly, some of the members have filed suit to have that lawsuit dismissed. So even though we passed the bill about gerrymandering last fall, we need to be careful because there are people out there that still want their way. Also, Moms Demand Action of Ohio is calling for people to call their senators about House Bill 228, which is the concealed carry bill It will eliminate the duty to retreat before using a weapon for self-defense. It also makes illegally carrying concealed handguns a misdemeanor, and it shifts the burden of proof from defendant to prosecutor as when to prove when self-defense is needed. So that's passed through the legislature and will be heard in hearings by the Senate this fall. So please call if you are against House Bill 288. Thank you, Alberta.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ann.
This might be a little garbled, but there's a group called Orsanco. There's a group called Orsanco. Does anyone know about it? It's they monitor the Ohio River, and part of the group says, and I think a majority, that that a lot of the rules are redundant, and that the EPA and the state can take care of it. And there's a meeting tomorrow at Holiday Inn in Erlanger. And if you're interested, you should go, because the EPA, as we know, is not really doing much. And I don't know about the state, but I'm worried.
Okay, thank you. Orsanco. Any other announcements? Is Jill Schiller still here?
I have
Go ahead. Sue Megan.
tomorrow night at the Columbia Center on Columbia Parkway, there is this, one of the Stories of Survival series events, and the person speaking is a Somalian refugee. It's from 6:30 to 8:30 if anyone's interested. I went to the one last month. There's one every month. The one last month was from Bhutan. It was very interesting. These are people in Cincinnati who are refugees, and this monthly series is trying to enlighten people about the stories of refugees here in our local community.
I understand we have 10,000 Bhutan refugees here in the city. Amazing. I had to go look it up when I was getting these people registered to vote. Emily.
First, what's the location, and do you know the actual address? You said the Columbia Center?
I think I forgot to bring the address, 3500 Columbia Parkway, I think, if I remember it right, but I'm pretty sure it's right on the corner of Columbia Parkway and Delta. It's in the Women's City Club building. Is that it?
Right.
Yeah, Columbia Parkway and Delta, right on the corner.
I have a separate announcement. Moms Demand Action is looking for volunteers to attend as many as possible school board meetings in this area, to be observers, and if you actually live in that district, you can be a speaker. They're trying to find out which schools are considering arming teachers, and they're opposed to it. And anybody can do it. We don't have to live in the district to be an observer. But if you go to the mom's website or contact me, I can help you.
Which school? Emily.
Any school district in Ohio or Kentucky. Or Indiana.
Jill Schiller.
Hi everybody, it's so good to be back here again, and I'm so excited to hear Ady's speech. I'll just give you a quick update on our race. As you may know already, the DCCC has moved us to their majority makers list. So that means that we are officially competitive and officially on the battleground map for this fall, meaning that we have 2 seats in Southern Ohio that are going to turn bright blue so long as we get you guys out there with us. So I'm going to make a quick request that on Saturday, this coming Saturday, the 28th, if you've got some time at 9 or at noon or at 3, please come to our headquarters at 3700 Eastern Ave for a day of action. We've got all the tools you need to go out and tell your neighbors and friends about the race. So you can also see Andy Brown, who right now is out in the lobby, and he can give you more information.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Any other announcements?
I happened to get a a large number of hats, stuff on hats like this, which we use for AFTAB. So if anyone wants one, my cost is $2 a piece, so I have a ton of them. So if anyone would like one, get to me after the meeting.
Thank you. I actually have mine at home. I should have brought it. Any other announcements? Without further ado then, I'm going to have Ady come. He's going to be over there.
Where would you like me?
Right there. Kind of in the middle there. Let me just. Ady. Ady is our speaker today. He is graduated from Yale Law School, Columbia College, cum laude. He works now with Popular Democracy and other things, and he is especially concerned with having people maintain and keep their rights to medical care. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep. So, without further ado, I'm going to give you the microphone. Here you go. Ady Barkan.
Hi everybody. Thank you so much for having me and my comrades here. We've been on the road for the past 3.5 weeks from California to Ohio on our way to New York and New England, and we've been eating a lot of hamburgers. Good to get some Chinese food. Just one line, so thank you. My name is Ady Barkan. I'm 34 years old. I live in Santa Barbara, California with my wife and our 2-year-old son. 2 years ago, I was a healthy man, enjoying the beautiful outdoors of California and looking forward to a long life with my family. And then out of nowhere, I was diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, which is destroying the connection between my brain and my muscles and paralyzing me each month more and more. I've been an organizer and an activist my whole career. In fact, my first job out of college was right here in Cincinnati. I graduated in New York City, and it was 2006, the height of the Iraq War, and finally America was ready to repudiate George Bush, and I applied for 40 campaign jobs all around the country and got a call from Victoria Wilson, who is running here in the 2nd District against Mean Jean Schmidt, if you all remember her. We ran a great race. Vic was amazing on the stump and meeting folks. He's a doctor, and we were talking about health care and the war in the economy, and we lost by 1% in a super red district as part of that national landslide in '06 that ushered in progressive Congress and laid the groundwork for Obama's win 2 years later. And we're in the same situation right now, where activists like you are organizing, coming together, campaigning. I thought this list of announcements that you had was incredible. There's so many ways to get involved, and you're educating one another about them. You're being active, you're taking advantage of your retirement not to watch TV or read mystery novels, although maybe you do that too. But you're being leaders, heroes in your community by getting involved, getting other people involved, and trying your darndest to resist this evil, hateful, racist, kleptocratic, fascistic president. And this midterm presents us with the perfect opportunity to stop him from destroying our democracy. With the House in progressive hands, we can not only start articulating our vision for a better society with Medicare for all, guaranteed good jobs, and the revolution to our criminal injustice system. Green energy revolution. But we can also begin impeachment proceedings right away. And, you know, our democracy really is under threat. And you all have the benefit of a little longer perspective than some of these whippersnappers on my team. Think back to your childhood and the incredible difference of the world we lived in then. Not only in the bad ways, but also the good ones. We had Jim Crow and forced segregation, and at the same time we had presidents like FDR and Truman and even Eisenhower who were committed to a full employment economy and investing in infrastructure and paying people a dignified wage. We had ambitions for national health insurance, and we invested in science and education rather than mass incarceration. I just think it's so important to recognize that history is not predetermined. It is unclear today whether we go down a path towards more fascism, more hatred, more wars, more inequality, or whether the next two elections over the next 27 months with 2 landslide elections, we can elect the most progressive president in 80 years. We can elect a progressive Congress. We can revolutionize our system of democracy and do all of those things to build a more just and equitable society for our children and grandchildren. So I'm traveling the country, meeting with folks like you, urging people to be heroes and get involved every day between now and the election to talk to folks who are less educated or politically involved than you are, who are less active, and tell them why you behoove them to turn out to vote. And you can be a hero for Cincinnati and Ohio and our country by reaching out to folks every day and trying to generate civic participation and political engagement like we haven't seen in many years. And the fact that you are building here independent political power, engaged, active, volunteer-led, is really an inspiration to me. And I'm so grateful for your hard work. And on election night, I can't wait to be watching your returns from the first district and the second district and the governor race. I know that it's because of the people in this room right here that we're going to take back our democracy. So thank you all so much. I am going to get back to that very tasty lunch. Thank you very much.
We just have a few moments maybe if there are a few questions or if anybody would like to share their own healthcare story with Ady. That's one of the things he's been really encouraging people to do, is to come out of the shadows of this healthcare system and to share your own personal testimonies. So just a few minutes if anybody would like to share or ask a question.
Mentioned they're doing a documentary.
So we're doing a documentary. We have an incredible crew of people from We the People TV who have been following us around the country, helping us to capture and also tell people's stories. So you can tell your story on camera later, but we're happy to hear from you now as well, or if you have any questions for Ady.
Come on, somebody a question.
That's all right.
All right, if there's no question, I'll ask you about reforming the Federal Reserve, which is one of the things you're working on, right?
You just made his day.
So before I got sick in 2014, I began a campaign called Fed Up to help low-income workers and particularly black and brown workers make their voices heard within the Federal Reserve, which is a powerful economic policy-making body which too often prioritizes the needs of Wall Street and the 1% over the needs of workers. I want us to get back to a full employment economy where everyone who wants to work has a good paying job with good wages. And that requires action from Congress and the Fed and the President. And I'm really inspired that candidates for Congress are beginning to talk about guaranteed good jobs for everyone, where the federal government says we have so much important work to do, from elder care and care for children and the disabled to building green energy systems, rebuilding our schools. We can hire America's unemployed and underemployed to do this good work rather than letting people sit impoverished and miserable or send them to jail for trying to feed their family. So healthcare is connected to the economy and to our environment and our education system. This is one fight that we're fighting together, and I'm really happy to be here with you. You've got a question? There's one right there. Oh.
Can you speak a little bit about Be a Hero and how that started and what your goals are?
Sure. I ran in December. I was trying to help stop the tax scam from passing in Congress. And I went to D.C. and protested and got arrested. And on the flight home, I was on the same plane as Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona. And I talked to him about how the tax bill would threaten health care for tens of millions of people like me. And I asked him to be a hero for the American people and vote against the bill. And he listened, he heard my story, he was compassionate, and then he turned around and voted with his campaign contributors to pass the tax bill. So if he's unwilling to be a hero, we need the American people to be heroes. And now my message is we can replace these folks by becoming organizers, telling our stories, and bringing everyone we know to the polls with us in November.
When you were talking about improving the economy and also going green, I don't know if you've read the book, The Green Collar Economy, and he says that the more green you go, the more we'll change our economy from a consuming economy to a producing economy, as they have done in Sweden and Iceland. The other book, I think, that mentioned the improvement to the economy just from going green is, I think, Downdraw. I think they mentioned it in that book also.
Amen. Thank you.
Listen, friend, I just want to tell you, you covered everything. In about 10 minutes. I mean, that was marvelous. Things we're trying to say to each other, you said them all. Gosh, and I'm glad you mentioned Medicare for all. But we're striving, some of us, hard in Ohio to get the Democratic Party here to think that Medicare for all is what will bring voters out that might not otherwise vote. They're not sure yet whether that can be mentioned. They want to just say health care for everybody. Well, nobody knows what that is. How would we get there? So, but I do thank you so much for coming and that wonderful talk.
So I just want to share, thank you for that. I do want to share, we were talking about in the van how different of a time this is. That, you know, when the Affordable Care Act was passed, we could hardly find a Democrat willing to just stand up for a public option. And just 2 weeks ago, we were in DC with Representative Jayapal and Representative Pocan from Wisconsin for the introduction of the Medicare for All caucus, which on day one had 74 members. And if you all know about the votes in Congress, more than half of the votes needed to pass Medicare for All came just from this caucus, and it effectively became one of the largest caucuses in the Democratic Party on day one. So that's because of your work. It's because of the work of Democratic socialists across the country. It's because of the work of the people who said the Affordable Care Act is not enough. We need to go further. But if your representatives here in Ohio have not signed on to the Medicare for All caucus, it's absolutely an important pressure point, because every single Democrat should be signed on to that caucus.
I have a question. I think I know the answer, your answer will be, but nationally there's a struggle between progressive wing of the Democratic Party and the more traditional Democrats. Some say that that struggle is counterproductive, that we should be more united. Others say it's important to have the struggle. What's your feeling on that dispute?
Good question. I think that the number one biggest political problem in America is that not enough people involved, not enough people are active, and I think that's because we're not delivering the vision and the inspiration that people need. And I think that the articulation of a bold vision can start to change that and can lead the way forward. If we can change the Democratic Party, we can change the country. I don't think there needs to be a dispute if only the traditional corporate Democrats change their way. Then we can move on. But, you know, as Jennifer was just saying, in 2000, Al Gore had no real agenda beyond a lockbox for Social Security. Do you remember that lockbox? And in 2004, Kerry offered us nothing but a weaker version of George Bush. And now, look at who's running for president. Even the centrist, modern Democrats like Kamala Harris and Cory Booker are saying they support single payer and guaranteed jobs for all. I mean, that's a political revolution in the making. So I think the leadership of people like Sherrod Brown right here in Ohio and other bold progressives is already paying dividends, and I hope and pray and I organize so that this November and in 2 years we can build that country that we all believe in.
Take one right here, because he's been having his hand up a lot.
I just wondered if you could sort of spell out a little bit the relationship of the nationwide program and the other programs that you've been involved with. Because for many of us, one of the confusing things is how we relate to national programs and stick heavily involved on the local level.
Very good. And sir, maybe you can ask your question as well, Bennett, and then I'll answer both.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming. I appreciate your comments. I particularly appreciate your comments about the Federal Reserve system. That's a system that my reading says provided $30 trillion worth of credit for the banking system when we had the crisis in the 2008 or so. Not just American banks, but European banks. And I think that's kind of crazy. And what about Main Street and what about jobs for folks? I think the Federal Reserve ought to fund rebuilding the infrastructure in this country, similar to the way FDR did. The other way that I think this finance is available, and what do you think of this? How about if we tax Wall Street purchases like 1%? All the exchanges on Wall Street, I pay taxes when I buy stuff. I pay sales tax. Wall Street pays none. So it seems to me like there's two ways we can get some money. They talk about deficits and debt, and I think that's contrived. I think they could use the Federal Reserve and taxing Wall Street to clear that up and to fund our country. Thank you.
If Benny we charge about Treasury or Federal Reserve, we would have a much better economy in this country. I agree, financial transaction tax, 1% on every stock purchase or sale would do two important things. It would get us the revenue we need to fund schools and infrastructure, and would reduce all of the crazy speculation. You know, doesn't even need to be 1%. $1 might be better, because right now, all this money, all this profit that our economy is producing, instead of going to workers, it goes to the owners of capital, and they don't know what to do with it. So they just buy and sell stock back to one another at inflated prices until our economy pops and collapses like it did in 08. And you're totally right that if the Fed had invested in infrastructure and helped people stay in their homes and put people to work, had bought the banks and nationalized them for the benefit of the public, we live in a different world, and Donald Trump would not be president. And this is what happens when your political system is owned by Wall Street and the capitalists. And that's why we need a revolution. And Peter, to answer your question, I think it's cliche, but the phrase think globally, act locally is wise and is a motto to live by. We have to be aware of global capitalism and climate change and international war and peace, because those are the forces that shape our world. But the only way to change them is by building power one step at a time, right here in Cincinnati, right here in Ohio, and as I've traveled across the country, I've been in dozens of rooms like these with people like you who are building locally, building power. You should know you're part of an inspirational national movement, and all together we can win. They have the money consolidated on Wall Street and Silicon Valley and Seattle and Dallas the oil industry and the tech companies and the banks. But we are all over this country. We have the people, and when we organize, when we come together, when we speak with one voice, our people power can defeat their money, and that's what gives me hope and gets me up in the morning, is being here with people like you who are fighting the good fight. So, again, thank you for your work. I hope you keep doing it every day between now and November, and then after that, you don't stop, but together we rebuild the country so that it reflects our values and our hope. Thank you very much.
How many people remember seeing a mother with a baby on her hip confronting Scott Pruitt right before he was forced to resign as EPA? Right? Some of you may have seen on Facebook this incredible woman right here, Tracy Porter, outside the Secretary Nielsen's office, confronting her about family separations at the border. Ady, what he did with Jeff Flake on the plane, all of these tactics are called something specific. They're called bird dogging. And it's the idea that we not only confront power, but we do it in a very organized and strategic way. We capture it on film, and we use a network of folks across the country to help amplify and lift out those messages. And so this incredible woman, Tracy Porter, is training folks all across the country on every stop that we go to for the tour on how to bird dog. We're going to be doing it in Columbus tomorrow. So one thing you can do is sign up on the Be a Hero forms, which we have on this back table. And if you're interested, Tracy or some of our colleagues can come back here to Cincinnati to train people in the tactic of bird dogging. And then you can join a network of folks who hopefully then we can amplify your stories as you go around this city and across the state, holding your elected officials accountable. You can say that here.
I think it's important that we recognize that civility is bullshit.
All right, thank you, Ady.
There were two more in the back, if you still want to take two.
Two more, and then we're going to let Ady do.
Personal story, I thank the Progressive Health Care Act for helping me insure my son until he was 26, because he was getting an expensive education at the time and trying to find a job afterwards. And also I had a personal question, because I'm very into getting rid of plastic bags in Cincinnati and now straws. And I was worried about disabilities, people with disabilities and straws. And I'm kind of worried about the opposite side, the non-progressive side, co-opting that argument also. Saying, well, we need all plastic straws because of the American Disabilities Act, which is very progressive.
First of all, thank you for being here and for being so encouraging for all of us. Because I think we all sometimes get a little timid, and I think what I'm hearing today is don't you dare be timid. The first thing I want to do is mention that I think we need to reframe. They're calling us the progressive left, and they're splitting us from the far right. We are not the left. We are the center of this country. 80 or more % of the Americans are already with us, so we got to reframe it, okay? We're the middle, and the way Washington insiders are portraying it as divided right and left is bullshit. Okay, you have addressed the role of dark money very well. I would only ask, do you have anything further about what you recommend for us to address that directly? And is a constitutional amendment part of that plan?
Sure. So, quickly, on the plastic straw question, I use a water bottle with a built-in straw, and that's the only way I can drink because I don't have the strength to tilt the cup, and I would choke if I had my chin off when I drink. That said, I don't need disposable straws because I do carry my reusable one. But frankly, and you know, I haven't thought about this too much, so I may be corrected or need to be more educated on it. I doubt that banning plastic straws is a key part of saving our planet. I think that in the face of political control by the Republicans, we're searching for any small thing that municipalities or states can do. But our problems are much bigger. We need our carbon tax, we need investment in mass renewable energy, we need investment in communities that have been poisoned and left behind. And my impression is that this plastic straw business is a bit of a distraction. As one disability activist referred to it on Twitter as performative environmentalism. And you know, maybe my opinion will change, but I think there are better ways to tackle climate change. On the political money question, our Supreme Court over the past few decades has turned the First Amendment into a weapon against democracy. Cigarette manufacturers don't have to put graphic warnings on their product, even though the ACA mandated it, because it infringes on their First Amendment rights. And billionaires and corporations can buy our political system off because money is speech and corporations are people. And I think the First Amendment used to be championed by the left as a way of giving voice to the marginalized and the oppressed. And now the courts are using it to enrich and empower the 1%. So, just is one more reason among many why the Supreme Court seat right now is so important to fight. We have to delay and fight and try to get to November without confirming this guy and hopefully defeat him. Two, the prospect for getting money out of politics is pretty daunting given the court's opposition to regulating money in elections. So sure, I favor amending the Constitution, but that's really hard. And in the meantime, I think we can combat the money actually by putting more money into politics via a more democratic and equitable system of public financing of elections. Happened in New York and elsewhere, if everybody had 100 democracy bucks to spend on elections, we could drown the 1% money with the public money and make sure that everyone's voice is heard. So I think there are many different solutions, and certainly this is one of the grave political issues of our time. All right, I'm going to leave it there.
I do have a couple more announcements. Next week, our speaker is Pat Bruins, the state
It's a misprint. B-R-U-I-N-S.
Bruins, B-R-U-I-N-S. Okay, Pat's gonna be here. And she's running for the State Board of Education. And the following week is really exciting because we're gonna have this Ohio State Senator running for the office with Sarah Bitter. We're gonna have a really good group after that. I do wanna mention that in August 27th, there's going to be a Mount Adams Democratic Club, and Richard Cordray is going to come here to town. If you want to see him, you can see. I'll put the announcement in the newsletter. This is what's particularly exciting for me. On August 21st, my two little grandsons will be here to add 2 songs to the benefit of the Luncheoneers. One is they're called The Fox is in the Hen House and the Chickens Let Him In. I don't know if you remember that one, but it's really cute. And it's going to be sung by a kid who has just turned 10, who has been 10 for 6 days when he comes here. And then my other grandson will join on This Land Is Your Land, This Land Is My Land. So that's going to be on the 21st. So we're going to have some balladeers here on the 21st.
Dick has one more thing.
Oh, Dick has one more thing. And next week, I will be here at noon, but we'll be attending a 10 a.m. morning naturalization ceremony. If anybody wants to join me for that, please see me about that, and I will be here. I will be here for the meeting, but I will be kind of marginally coming in on time, if you know what I mean. Okay, thank you. Got some hot food for him. Okay, so next week, naturalization ceremony, just before this meeting at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then I'll be here on time for our speaker. And after that, the only time we will not be with the speaker is going to be December 25th. And then in 2019, the 1st of January. So we will have speakers every week until then. Just know that our person is putting those speakers in there. Just keep on coming back because you're a great audience. Thank you so much for coming. And if there's any food left, let's go.
Dick has one more.
Dick has one more announcement.
Okay, I just want to point out that, yes, the amendment is hard, but slavery, which was a 30,000-year institution in every culture in the world, it was 50 years from the beginning of the abolitionist movement until slavery was ended. Think about that. Now, another example is the 18-year-old vote, Vietnam War time. We said our sons and daughters are fighting and dying for our country. They have to be able to vote. I understand it was about 2 years, and we passed that amendment. 80% of it's already saying, get the money out. We can do it. We can do it in much less than the 10 years.
Let's get that money out of politics. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Come on back.